Well, I had a good rest yesterday, and now Now I am heading. The hockey tournament is today. The Stable.ca is defending champions of the hockey tournament. Obviously, I don't play hockey, nor could I today, but I am the coach. Really, Todd's the coach. I'm really just a figurehead. I just sit there and yell things, hockey terms, and people might assume I know what I'm doing. So, it's a good day, though. Good time to get out of the house. I slept for most of yesterday. I felt good. Got to watch a Yes race. The race he won, Finally left hard with him. Finished second in 55 in the mud. Raced unbelievably huge. Wow, we always knew he was a nice horse. I talked to Josh after. I talked to Jason after. Obviously, we also raced See You in Tuscany. He was really bad. Now, I didn't see the start of See You in Tuscany's race, but I definitely saw the finish. So, I'll get to him in a second. So, many of you may or may not know, I believe I talked about it and touched on it, that Yes had a trickle of blood in his schooler, and maybe not enough to put him on Lasix, but maybe enough to put him on Lasix. So we talked to the vet down there a little bit about it, and after his first two starts, there was no blood. Hey, great. So we scoped him again last night. Just a tiny, tiny bit of blood. Now, he has a stake race in a week. We won't put him on Lasix before the stake race, but I believe he'll probably enter the Lasix program after that race. There's a short break in the stake season after that. So, Yes will likely end up on the Lasix program after his next race. So, Jason's working hard to get him dried up and comfortable for the race next week. I caught some flack last night, I guess deservedly so, on See You in Tuscany. A lot of people thought we should have raced him Monday and the cheaper non-winners, and I guess there's an argument to be made either way, and we're not going to use hindsight as a tool here, but my idea was race him, follow along, whatever he paces. Now, I didn't see the start of the race, but I talked to Jason after, who spoke to Kyle later. He said he ran up on top of Brett coming out of the first turn, I believe. He thought he heard him make a noise, and then he was immediately out of power. He believed he shut his air off. Now, I've never heard of or seen See You in Tuscany shut his air off, so I thought that was a bit of a stretch. I asked him to scope him, and I talked again to Jason this morning. Scoped him. He said there was some bruising and a lot of redness on his palate. He did flip his palate. So, not the end of the world. We'll put a choke plate on him and tie his tongue out. I know it's easy, and I know you guys don't mean to, but I know it's easy to sit back and throw stones and say, hey, he shouldn't have been in there. We should have done this. We should have done that. At the end of the day, we only get to make one decision, right? And I think you guys know where I'm going with this. See You in Tuscany is going to be a Buckeye horse for a while. I'm not chasing Rock Candy and those horses. For the people out there that believe that he should be a gold horse, please keep in mind where we got this horse, what we paid for him, how he was training down, how sickly he was. The fact that he's a competent horse to begin with is pretty impressive. He's already paced 52 this year. He'll go back there. He's not 100% sound and never was. For the people that say, what's wrong with him? He's never been 100% sound, that horse. His feet kill him. He's worn flip-flops since the day we put shoes on his feet as a baby. And he hits the ground very, very hard. And when it rains the way it did last night, at most tracks in the 21st century, and that isn't being smart, just in the old days you used to get that sloppy mud. Now you get like mud and water on top of concrete. And it's very, very hard. Very hard. It hurts the horses a lot. So Jason turned him out this morning. He seemed comfortable. He ate his breakfast. He was out playing in the field. So good. But he did have some redness and swelling in his palate that we can treat. And we will. His next start will be the Buckeye when it comes up in a week's time. It'd be nice to have a nice horse race all summer and let that horse mature. Keep in mind, these are still babies. I know everybody believes when they hit 3, they go fast and they're all matured. It's not even close. They're not matured at all. They still got a lot of growing to do, and we don't want to hurt this horse. We want to turn him into a nice horse. Realistically, a number of avenues are open for this horse. We could race him in the Buckeye throughout the summer. We could sell him in Harrisburg, probably get real good money for him. He gets to Harrisburg with hopefully around $100,000 made. Good looking colt, no obvious injuries or problems. we could get a lot of money for this guy. And that's one avenue. Two, we keep him and race him, and my God, that annoys me. Keep him and race him right up through the classes. It's another avenue for this guy. And if he gets better, we can always move him into different races, and he's got at least one, or if not a couple. Oh, I missed my exit. If not a couple of races at the end of the year also. See You in Tuscany does. So for the people out there that are all in a tither saying, and I faced this with Oso Pine last week, we have to do this and we have to do that. It's a long year, and we don't have to do anything. What we need to do is take care of the horses. And rushing to get them in here or get them in there is not going to be better for any of them. So I know everybody wants what's best, and everybody's eager for the summer to come. But please bear with us. We're trying to do what's best for Oso Pine. We're trying to do what's best for See You in Tuscany. I can't make the race secretary put one of those horses in the Scarlet and Grey. He didn't. And regardless of what I think or you think or anyone else thinks, it's his decision. West 52nd today is racing in the mud. Now, he's 5-1 in the non-winners of 2. I just assumed he'd be like in a 3-5 position, but apparently Burke has one in there that's good, and a couple other guys do. But West 52nd's coming in big. I did send Josh Sutton a message, and I simply asked him, don't hurt him. Don't race him hard. The horse, I raced him hard enough last week. Just race him. Just race him conservatively. So we have him. Oso Pine is in Tuesday. Now, I told you I didn't want to do this and race him on the Tuesday, but there's no training at the track. There's no schoolers. I don't want him training on a farm track fast. So you know what? Put him in. Same thing. Talk to Josh. Josh, hit the wood. Race the horse. Keep in mind, he's coming back in 5 days. I don't want him bottomed out for a non-winners event. So, not the perfect start to the year. Now, yes, that was fantastic. For those of you out there who own Yes, partners of mine on Yes, that's great. Partners of mine on West 52nd. We're going to see him today. I apologize. I tell you what, hiccups and broken ribs do not work well. Oh. But it was a good outing for Yes. Let's focus on that. Hopefully it'll be a good outing today for our boy West 52nd. Oso Pine, See You in Tuscany. Obviously, he had a setback, but that's racing. It's not the end of the world. He's going to have to show his toughness. Come back next time. We'll have him in a class he can actually do some good in. If you want to blame anybody, blame me for him racing in a tough class, but I think his poor outing had to do more with shutting his air off last night than it did him being buried over his head. Yeah, that was a big mile. He already paced 52. I assume a mile and 53, finishing 5th or 6th, was not out of the question, and I can't imagine you do either. But it didn't happen. So, onward and upward, we will race today. We will race Tuesday. We have a lot of other stuff going on, but we'll never stop moving forward, will we? Geez, I sound a lot like the cowboy there from Buzz Lightyear. Or Buzz Lightyear. Obviously, it's been a rough week for me. I'm going to be out of commission for 6 to 8 weeks, but I'll be back for the summer. James has fallen in love with White Tiger in one race, so he'll go with White Tiger next week. Hopefully, he'll go over and drive him on the 11th. And as we spoke before, if James is getting along good with the horse and he's doing well, James can keep the drive. Anthony just wants to focus on growing the stable, focus on growing our community, focus on our babies. So still a lot going on, a lot we have to fix up and get polished. I'm on it. We're working on it, and I'll be back to you this week. Take care.